Krsna. Today we are going to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, the third canto, and we are on first chapter, questioned by Vidura, and we are on text 20th. That's where we are reading. Before we start the class, we'll do some auspicious mantra. Yesterday, Mozananda was describing how when we say this mantra, it prepares our consciousness so we can remember what she was sharing with us yesterday. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, and to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. So today we are reading from the first chapter of the third canto, questioned by Vidura. The third and fourth canto, they are conversation between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi. So right now, Sukadev Goswami, the speaker of the Bhagavatam, is leading us to the meeting between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. So we are in that phase that's leading us to that moment, and that will lead to speak to two of the biggest canto. If you look here, we have all the cantos, and the fourth canto and the third canto are the biggest one, and the 10th canto is big because there is Krishna. And okay. So we'll do one word at a time, Sanskrit word at a time. Itam Vajan Bharatam Eva Varsham Kalina Yavat Yatavan Vabasam Tavat Shashasa Ksitim Ekachakram Eka Atapatram Partam no Ajitena Partam Itam Vrajam Bhagatam Eva Varsham Kalena Yavad Gatavan Prabhavasan Tavacha Saksitime Gachakram Ekatapatra Majitena Parta
ajitena parta.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva vasam.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva vasam.
Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam.
Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam.
Tavacha shasakshitim ekachakram.
Tavacha shasakshitim ekachakram.
Ekatapatram ajitena partam.
Ekatapatram ajitena partam.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva varsham.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva varsham.
Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam.
Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam.
Tavacha shasaksitim ekachakram.
Tavacha shasakshitim ekachakram.
Ekatapatram ajitena partam.
Ekatapatram ajitena partam.
Chant.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva varsham.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva varsham. Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam. Tavacha shasakshitim ekachakram. Ekatapatram ajitena partam.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva varsham.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva varsham. Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam.
Tavacha shasakshitim ekachakram.
Tavacha shasaksitim ekachakram. Ekatapatram ajitena partam. Itam vrajam bhagatameva varsham. Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam. Someone online would like to chant the verse?
Itam vrajan bharatameva vasham.
Itam vrajam bhagatameva varsham.
Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam.
Kalena yavad gatavan prabhasam.
Tavacha shasakshitim ekachakram.
Tavacha shasakshitim ekachakram.
Ekatapatram ajitena parta.
Ekatapatram ajitena partam. Okay, we can go to the synonymous word for word. Itam,
Itam,
like this.
like this.
Rajan,
Vrajam,
while traveling.
while traveling.
Bharatam,
Bharatam,
India.
India.
Eva,
Eva,
only.
only.
Varsham,
Vrajam,
the tract of land.
the tract of land.
Kalina,
Kalina,
in due course of time.
in due course of time.
Yavat,
Yavat,
when.
when.
Gatavan,
Gatavan,
visited.
visited.
Prabhasam,
Prabhasam,
the Prabhasa pilgrimage site.
Prabhasa pilgrimage site.
Tavat,
Tavat,
at that time.
at that time.
Shashasa,
Shashasa,
ruled.
ruled.
Shitim,
Shittim,
the world.
the world.
Ekachakram,
Ekachakram,
by one military force.
by one military force.
Eka,
Eka,
one.
one.
Atapatram,
Atapatram,
flag,
flag,
Ajitena,
Ajitena,
by the mercy of the unconquerable Krishna,
by the mercy of the unconquerable Krishna,
Partam,
Parta,
Maharaj Yudhishthir. Translation. Thus, when he was in the land of Bharatvarsha, traveling to all the places of pilgrimage, he visited Prabhasa Kshetra. At that time, Maharaj Yudhishthir was emperor and held the world under one military strength and one flag. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. More than 5,000 years ago, while Saint Vidura was traveling the earth as a pilgrim, India was known as Bharatvarsha, as it is known even today. The history of the world cannot give any systematic account for more than 3,000 years into the past. But before that, the whole world was under the flag and military strength of Maharaj Yudhishthir, who was the emperor of the world. At present, there are hundreds and thousands of flags flapping in the United Nations. But during the time of Vidura, there was, by the grace of Ajita, Lord Krishna, only one flag. The nation of the world are very eager to again have one state under one flag. But for this, they must seek the favor of Lord Krishna, who alone can help us become one world nation. Om Jnana Timiram Dasya Jnana Jala Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Upam Sagajatam Sagana Hagutantam Vitam Sam Sachivam Sadvaita Savadutam Parijana Saita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitaham Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Govange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Karpata Rubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paskyacha Dejatani Ukam Kuruti Vacha Pangum Lankayate Giri Yadkrita Krishna Sang on the Shago Dejatani. Hare Krishna, we are reading from the third canto, Status Quo, It's the name of the third canto, that is called. And first chapter questions by Vidura. And we are on text 20th. Thus, when he was in the land of Bharadvarsha, traveling to all the places of pilgrimage, he visited Prabhaksha Kshetra. At that time, Maharaj Yudhishthir was emperor and held the world under one military strength and one flag. Hare Krishna. And so we are continuing our story. We started the beginning at the end of the second canto. Somehow randomly, the sage in Naimisharanya said, "What about Vidura?" You know, we were speaking, like if you remember the second canto, we were speaking about creation. We were speaking about like the 10 topics of Bhagavatam, and all of a sudden they remember, maybe it was like 2 days ago that they heard, or like, you know, like something like that, but they remember, what about Vidura? You told us something about Vidura, and they wanted to understand why Vidura went on a pilgrimage. And then Sutta Goswami responding to the sage of Naimisharanya, he quoted the dialogue between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukadev Goswami, and Sukadev Goswami started to respond by bringing us back to the intrigue at the palace of Hastinapur and with the Pandava and the Kurus. And then we read how Vidura, he wanted to protect the Pandavas, like Arjuna, who received the Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, is one of the 5 Pandavas. Yudhishthir Maharaj that we are hearing here about, one of the 5 Pandavas, and he was supposed to be the heir of the kingdom. He was supposed to be the ruler of the earth, really. But the evil Duryodhana, he was jealous. He was really always envious and jealous and greedy. So, and he didn't want Yudhishthir to have the claim, his righteous claim of the kingdom. And not only the righteous claim, but here we see that the importance of a ruler to really know the purpose of human life, because otherwise a ruler will rule somewhere and lead people to a different place. For Duryodhana, he would probably lead them like probably we are led right now to envy and greed. Like that's what the government as a whole, that's what they are creating in the citizens. Like greed, I want more, so many unnecessary necessity, I go everywhere, and jealousy and envy and tension between people and polarization and so much envy, creating envy, like, oh, if you're in that color, you're better, if you are this color, you're different. So Duryodhana is a representative of the rulers that we really have now. And then Vidura, he went to his brother Dhritarashtra, the father of Duryodhana, and he said, well, don't do that. Don't listen to your son. He's a bad son. He's a bad son. He's not going to deliver you from the cycle of birth and death. So a son, really, his duty, the responsibility of the son is to deliver the father from the cycle of birth and death. Your son is not going to do that. Look at him. He's just like envious and greedy, and he's a murderer. He tried to murder the Pandavas so many times in their youth. He tried to poison them. He tried to burn them to death. And he sent them on exile for 12 years. Now they're coming back, just asking for their righteous share. And when the Pandava came back from their exile, they didn't even stand up by what was theirs. They didn't even stand up like, we're supposed to rule the entire world. They said, just give us, we are rulers, that's our duty, that's our dharma, that's what we are supposed to do. Just give us like 5 villages. They didn't ask for more, like just 5 villages. And Duryodhana said, you won't even have the land that can stand under the pin of a needle. So that was the situation. That's where we are at. And then Vidura, he came to Dhritarashtra and said, this is not a good idea. you're going to destroy yourself. You're not going to destroy yourself only in this lifetime, but in many lives to come, life after life. You're going to destroy your reputation. You are going to destroy your dynasty. Everybody's going to die in that battle that you want to fight against the Pandava. And plus, it's not going to serve you. It's not going to serve your son. It's not going to serve anyone. Stop. It's like a lose-lose. But Dhritarashtra, he was there, and then Duryodhana came and he heard, and he shoo away Vidura, telling him, like insulting him, really like insulting. And yesterday we had a cooking class, and we were speaking about spiritual life in general, and we were speaking about sense gratification. And sense gratification doesn't destroy spiritual life. He like hinder it, he make it a little slower. He entangle us in pain, suffering, illusion, madness. It's just pain. However, it's not a stumbling block, complete, like it doesn't block spiritual life. But what do block spiritual life is offenses to a pure devotee. Like really offenses to a pure devotee will block. So Duryodhana is his envy and greed and viciousness. He's really vicious. He tried to kill his cousin, even so his cousin was just godly. So Duryodhana, he kind of was very, very offensive. He was insulting Vidura, like really in a way that was pointed at Vidura, like very heavy, like telling him that he's born of nothing and that he's a son of like a maidservant and he have nothing to do, and that he's a spy, that he's spying on behalf of the Pandava, all kind of things like that. And Vidura, he did his duty. His duty was to speak the truth and to be open, like, okay, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell you as it is. And he wasn't attached. And in fact, when he got insulted and thrown out, he could see like, they are not going to listen to me. So if they not listen to me, I'm okay. And in fact, he was more than okay. He saw that as like, an act of providence to really fulfill his deepest desire. And what was the deepest desire of Vidura? To focus on Krishna, to just focus on Krishna, to go and visit the place of pilgrimage, to focus on Krishna. So he left everything. And yesterday we spoke about that in the class. How Vidura, he didn't even take a water bottle. We all have water bottles, so he didn't even take a water bottle. He didn't take a blanket. He didn't take a backpack. He didn't take anything. He just had lion clothes, and he didn't even take a comb. Like in the previous verse, he said that he didn't even comb his hair or make his hair very nice. It was just, he left. He left with nothing, and he just went to the place of pilgrimage, and he was happy. Wow, great. Duryodhana is my friend. He's giving me an opportunity to think about Krishna and to focus on Krishna. So, and here we just enter like his pilgrimage, and the fact that he was wandering on earth. He was wandering in the land of Bharatvarsha. And Srila Prabhupada makes the point that Bharatvarsha and India is the same. At the time of 5,000 years ago, the whole earth was called Bharatvarsha. Now Bharatvarsha is considered just India, but Bharatvarsha really was the entire world. And at that time, so when Vidura was traveling, he was traveling, within the space of those sacred lands of India to different places of pilgrimages. And from this also verse, we understand that some time has passed, because when he left, like just a few verses ago, he just left the palace because he was insulted by Duryodhana. And here we hear from the verse that King Yudhishthira is emperor of the world. So by the time when he left, he was insulted. The Pandava was just coming back from their exile. They had nothing. And then, so we understand time have passed. So he probably did travel for maybe a few months, a few years. I'm not sure. There is no details in the third canto about how long. And the other day, in fact, Ganesha was saying he did go on pilgrimage for 30 years, but that's Ganesha. I don't have knowledge myself of where that information is. However, we can see here for sure that, okay, so he left, and then Krishna went to the Kurus to try to appease them, and so it took some time, and then there was a war of Kurukshetra where the battlefield was spoken. That was a war, 18 days, so at least 18 days. And then after there was like they need to bury all the dead, and there was a Ashvamedha sacrifice, and so there was so much happening for many months. So we can imagine he was walking like that with nothing. He was walking from one place of pilgrimage to the next, depending on Krishna fully, because Krishna provides. He provides for the elephant in the jungle. He provides a ton of food to all of us. And as long as all our occupation, all what everything we do is for the pleasure of Krishna. What's the pleasure of Krishna? How we say pleasure of Krishna? Hari Toshanani. We repeated it three times yesterday. Hari Toshanani. So as long as everything is done for the pleasure of Krishna, then Krishna is going to take care of us, of course. He's going to take care of us. We don't need to worry about anything. In fact, we can be free as Vidura. We can be fully free in this material world, completely liberated, completely like at the mercy of Krishna, depending on Krishna only, not on our work. And really, so when the world was Bharat Varsha, and at that time, King Yudhishthira was ruling the entire world, and he was ruling as a Raja Rishi. Raja means kings, ruler, and Rishi is a sage. So he was a sage, knowing the goal of human life, knowing that there is no purpose for us to be in that form, very rare form, in fact, very, very rare to obtain the human form of life. And he knew that the only purpose to be in that human form of life is for the human beings, the human species to go back to Godhead, to elevate themselves from wherever they are closer to Krishna. So, and to uphold Sanatana Dharma. So that's the rule of the king. And Srila Prabhupada make a point that right now, everybody wants that. And in fact, the internet, Facebook, so many places try to do that. Now we are so connected, yeah? We are connected to people in China. We are connected for people all over the world. And it looks like a oneness of nation because there is a similar culture. Everybody know McDonald's. And there is a similar culture of like pop music, or there is similar culture. But because Krishna is absent from that unity, so-called unity, illusion of unity, then it's really not working. In fact, internet seems to divide people more than they bring them close. And then there is so many flags and new flags all the time happening, less flags also, like I think Russia want to annihilate Ukraine to do one flag under Russia. So less flag, more flag, but all together, because the goal of all the rulers and the goal of those nations are usually made of economic development and provided sense gratification for the citizen, then they are missing the point. They are not putting the one in front of the zero. And it's not about, we could have many, many nations and many, many rulers all, aiming at in the same direction. Savai Pumsa Parodamo Yato Bhakti Adokchaji Hai to Kihat Patiata. Yatma Suprasidati. Yeah, so the Param Dharma, like the supreme activities for a human being is to perform devotional service to Adokchaji, the transcendental Lord. That's the supreme occupation for humanity, is to really perform devotional service to Adokchaji, the transcendental Lord. So it doesn't matter how we perform devotional service. and to really focus there. And that's the only way to really satisfy the self. The self is not going to be satisfied. Like Mother Nanda at the breakfast table yesterday, we had Casey and Rachel, and was like, and they were asking questions, and she was reminding us of the fish out of the water. And the fish can get like, yeah, so much, like fame and name and prosperity and an amazing partner and a big bank account, and the fish is going to flap. The fish is going to flap and die because the fish is outside of his water, and our water is adokshaji, like the transcendence. We are supposed to be with Krishna in his transcendental realm. Transcendental means above the mode of material nature. And Krishna and all the Vaishnava and Srila Prabhupada with his books and his teaching and his guidance and is teaching us how to get out of the extreme mode of material nature. So really to satisfy the self, that devotional service needs to be uninterrupted and unmotivated. If there is any motivation whatsoever, if it's about me in some way or another, then it's not going to satisfy the self. It's not like it's not devotional service, it's mixed devotional service, and that's what we are doing. It's not like, oh, because I have some personal motivation, let me stop devotional service. No, that's not at all that. It's to understand what is devotional service, because when we understand what is devotional service, then we can endeavor to go there. Wherever we are at on the map, it doesn't matter. I may be in Lyon, where I was born, to go to Paris, a very short way. Or I may be in Moscow, or I may be here in Florida. It doesn't matter. But I need to understand where Paris is. So we need to understand what is pure devotional service. Anya bila sita sunyam jnanam karma anavritam anu kulyana krishnanu shilanam bhakti uttama. So pure devotional service, we need to understand, to really satisfy the self, it needs to be unmotivated. And how we find those motivation? Then by looking at karma, fruitive activities. Like we perform some things that somewhere is for my enjoyment, maybe my gross enjoyment, or maybe my subtle enjoyment. My gross enjoyment would be like satisfying my senses and my body in some ways, getting money, goes. And subtle is like my desire to be loved, appreciated, name, fame, recognition, blah, all those things. And so that's fruitive. We endeavor in that direction, and it's purified by devotional service. The beauty of this process of bhakti yoga is that the means and the goal, is one. In so many processes of self-realization or transcendence, transcendental process, like leading to a personal realization or voidism, the means and the goal are different. So like, okay, I may practice meditation, like silent meditation. I may practice 1 hour, I may practice 2, I may practice 10 days, I may practice whatever. But then what do I do the rest of the day? There is nothing. And then I go back, and it's very, very difficult. And then it doesn't come at the means to a goal, it's just about the goal. But in Bhakti Yoga, the means and the goal are one. So as we practice Bhakti Yoga, and we develop Bhakti Yoga, and we develop Bhakti, and we develop, we have an opportunity to feed the Bhakti Lata beach, with like the seed of Bhakti that's inside our heart. And by watering that seed with devotional service, then the seed sprout. And after the seed sprout is growing into a little creeper. And that little creeper is so fragile. And it's so easy to water that creeper and have weeds growing. So we are guided like how to really recognize the weeds and pull them, because otherwise the little creeper gets choked. And when a stroke is so hard to make it grow again, and a frost like today, it's going to kill it. So the frost is like lack of association. It can be like, identifying maybe one of the weed as a creeper and missing out what's a creeper, and like karma creeper or jnana creeper, like knowledge, like, oh, I have so much knowledge, or the karma, like the fruitive activity, or the yogic principle, or the mysticism principle, or the so many weeds that can grow, that can take us away from focusing on Guru and Krishna, focusing on by pleasing. He said that by pleasing Krishna, Yasya Prashado, Bhagavat Prashado, Yasya Prashado Nagati Kutopi. By pleasing the spiritual master, we please Krishna. And there is no way to please Krishna. We have no way to serve Krishna. The only way we can serve Krishna is through the guidance of the spiritual master, through the via media of the spiritual master. Krishna is the spiritual world, is having his pastime with his eternal associate. So the via media, Srila Prabhupada, our gurus, they help us to, they are directing us. Like we offer all our love and our pleasing to the guru and to Srila Prabhupada, and then when the pure devotee is pleased, when Vidura is pleased, when the pure devotee is pleased, Krishna is pleased. So we are successful. Krishna is so pleased when his devotees are pleased. Krishna is so pleased when we serve his devotees and they are pleased. And then Krishna smiles and he says, oh, you're serving my devotees. You're a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, and you're focusing on serving them, giving them flower, giving them, a nice, comfortable place, whatever we do. And then Krishna said, oh, I'm smiling upon you. I'm so happy because you're serving the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the master of the gopis. And then Krishna is really, really pleased that way. So I'm going to try to focus on the verse because I can so easily go somewhere else. And so there is Ajita. Ajita is a word from this is unconquerable. So Krishna is unconquerable. So unconquerable. So unless we serve the unconquerable, we are not going to conquer lust, greed, anger, all our enemies, 6 enemy illusion, and madness. Unless we really endeavor to please, to be in service to Ajita, the unconquerable, the one that cannot be conquered. It cannot be conquered by any material means. And it can be conquered by love. It can be fully conquered by love, like Mother Yashoda was able to tie Krishna. So it can be conquered by love. It can be conquered, even like if we look at Arjuna, like at the place where we are in our reading of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked Krishna, bring me in the middle of the battlefield. So we can see in that Arjuna is a order giver to Krishna. He said, take me in the middle. Take me. So Krishna is conquered by Arjuna. Why? Because Arjuna is fully surrendered to Krishna. Arjuna's only motivation is to please Krishna. Of course, for the sake of the Bhagavad Gita being spoken, Arjuna kind of takes the role of a conditioned soul, like he shows some like he's in illusion, but he's never in illusion. He is eternally liberated, pure devotee. However, for our sake, often devotees do that. For our sake, for the sake of us hearing transcendental knowledge, receiving transcendental knowledge, and also understanding that dynamic of transcendental knowledge being through question and responses and doubts, for us to understand that, then the devotees take that position of a conditioned soul. And then they ask questions for our benefit. for the benefit, for our benefit, for us to understand, okay, what it takes to really understand the process. So the process of Bhakti Yoga, there is a goal, Paris, and there is where we are at, and there is guidance. Okay, if that's where you are at, the first thing is that Srinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravane Kirtana, Vidyantasto Yabadrani, Vidunoti Suitsadam. So Krishna cleaned the heart from material desire. And he does that to whom? To whom does he do that? He does that to the truthful devotee. So we need to be honest, honestly looking inside, honestly looking and seeing those enemies, because they are there. If we are here, they are there. It just go together. You know, like if we are here, they are there. And if they are there, we need to look at them. Okay, yes, I can see I have so much envy in my heart. And it's not about going into deprecation, like, oh, I have so much envy, I'm such a bad, wretched person, and I go into guilt and shame, and then because I'm on guilt and shame, then I can indulge my senses because I feel so bad about myself. And like once like many years ago, I think maybe even 30 years ago, I watched a mesh movie, and so in Amish, they are very, very strict. They have a lot of rule and regulation, the way they live their life. And then it was a dialogue between a son and a father. I don't remember the dialogue, but the father was very wise and purely following the Dharma of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his work, his Dharma, and following the Bible, following the rule and regulation that you have chosen to follow, to go back to Godhead. And the son, Kanye, was very, very rebellious. So like he went and he did what he did outside in the world. And then he kind of was coming back with his tail in between his legs. And I'm suffering so much that. And then he said something like, oh, right now I'm forgetting exactly the words. It's like anyway, it's like the essence of his word is like, it's cheap to feel bad about yourself. It's easy to feel bad about ourselves. It's easy to go into like, oh, I'm so bad, and then go into like humiliation, and because I'm so bad and I'm such a wretch because I try to be so high and such a high like person who knows everything and can control my life and all that, then that usually leads to more sense gratification. Like if someone who is alcoholic, and they do that a lot with a 12-step program. The 12-step program, they do a lot of truthfulness. It's so much about truthfulness. And truthfulness is the last leg of religion. In the Bible, it said, truth will set you free. So yes, he's going to set us free. Why not? Not by speaking the absolute truth, but by being truthful about those 6 enemies in my heart. And so truthfulness will set us free, and truthfulness is the last leg of religion. So by looking inside, by looking inside, we have an opportunity to come to humility, and in that humility, just in that place, then we feel insignificant, so insignificant in that conditioning, in that state of being spirit soul, having a human experience. And all of us, we have a human experience internally, externally. It's all our field of activity. Kshetragya, it's all our field of knowledge, and a field of activity, our kshetragya. And that kshetragya is perfect and complete as it is, with all the enemy, with all our capability, with all our talents, our strengths, with all our weakness, our shortcomings, and all that. And that's perfect vehicle to go back to Godhead. So in reality, those enemies are our best friend, in the same way that Duryodhana became the best friend of Vidura by being so vicious and envious and greedy. So we can see also those enemies as our friends or friends to come to bring us to that place of like, oh, yes, I'm really insignificant. Yes, I'm so fallen. Yes, I'm so envious. Yes, I'm so greedy. And to do that in a place of joy and playfulness and acceptance. And then from that place, and nothing can touch us. No pain can touch us. Nobody can touch us. And Vidura is untouchable. And you have conquered the unconquerable. So I'm going to read the verse again. Thus, when he was in the land of Bharat of Varsha, traveling to all the places of pilgrimage, he visited Prabhasakshetra. At that time, Maharaj Yudhishthira was emperor and held the world under one military strength and one flag. Hare Krishna. Thank you for being here today and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And my hope is that whatever I said was representing the teaching of Srila Prabhupada. And I look forward to hear your sharing, realization, questions, comments. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Going once, going twice. Eze, I think you need to ask a question because you're not done. Going twice. Going.
It's I'll connect it to what you're saying here and what Vera read in the morning chanting. So it's the Trinadapi.
Trinadapi, yeah.
So being humbler than the grass, more tolerant than the tree. To me, it reminds me of like Vidura, right? Super tolerant of Duryodhana. So sometimes in Savas we talk about being passive, being assertive, all these things. Like, where would you say is the distinction? Like, okay, being tolerant or being like permissive. Like, for example, Prabhupada is tolerant, but he doesn't you don't allow a devotee to be offended. For example, you were just talking about it's like the greatest spiritual offense. So where is the balance between being tolerant and not being permissive? And I'll listen well.
Okay. Did people online heard is this a question? Did you hear this question?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Jim. Okay, thank you, Izzy. I love your question. So, Trinadapi, Sunichina, Taroapi, Seshnana, Madina, Madadina, Kirtaniya, Sadaham. So, Lord Chaitanya, he didn't write any book. He just gave us 8 prayers. And those 8 prayers, the third one is the one I just recited that says that one should chant the holy name of the Lord in an humble state of mind. Thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. Every day I meditate to try to put myself very small and as a blade of grass or like straw in the street. And I try to imagine, okay, well, what's the consciousness there? How does it feel? Anyway, and so I give it to you. And if you figure it out, you can share with me. And then one should be more tolerant than a tree. Like the tree, people sometimes they go with knife and they make art in the tree. The tree doesn't say anything. Kalyapani was telling me that Kalyapani was probably was a friend of all of us, and he was cutting trees, and he was saying sometimes the branch is snapping back because they're in pain. He was cutting the tree and he would be all scratched on his head because the tree is in pain, but the tree tolerant, usually they don't say anything. Kalyapani had different experience, but and they give shade, they give food. They give wood. Even when they die, they are still tolerant when they die. They give something. As they die, they give us wood for fuel, for heating ourselves. Of course, now we are so far from that. Yesterday, someone shared with me that they didn't see a cow before they were 22. So I'm thinking people don't realize that wood can be used to make fire, probably. Or maybe, with camping, maybe they do. I don't know. It's such a strange world. Such a strange world. So far away. We are so far away. I'm going to go there
Well, I just have a small interruption. I think that we just ran out of gas.
We have gas. That's exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the modern fuel. We run out of the modern fuel. Go in the forest. Go get wood.
Yeah.
There is another tank that's full. We just ran out of gas. Just as I was saying that, I think Krsna has so much humor. It's so funny. Yeah, so the trees are so tolerant that even when they die, they still give. And devoid of all sense of false prestige. And in a sense, they all say the same thing, but with little nuances. And in those nuances, maybe, one day, one nuance speak more to me than another day. So devoid of all sense prestige, I'm prestigious, I'm important, or any sense that I am number one is false prestige. So easy to think like I'm superior to everybody else, or I'm number one, or I'm the most, whatever. Even like once a devotee approached Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. And Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. Because we are not the most anything. Really, like who we think we are, like Westerners born in Kali Yoga. We have no good quality. We don't even know how to clean. Just out there, we don't even know how to clean our body and our environment. Like it should be very easy. But it seems the further away we are from righteous goodness life, the more difficult it is to be humble. It seems like that the less we have to be puffed up about, the more puffed up we are. So we need to boost because we feel so bad about ourselves. We need to boost ourselves all the time. So devoid of all sense of false prestige and ready to offer all respect to others. So being ready. And Vidura shows that. He's showing so much respect to Duryodhana. You see him as a friend when Duryodhana was so vicious to him. You see him as a friend. And so offer all respect to others. So then is able to point that in personal development, advert of courses, in general, principle of self-empowerment brings that, like overly passive as a tamasic quality, like being passive, like, okay, whatever, you say whatever, and kind of passivity will be resignation. Okay, I don't say anything. But usually passivity comes from fear. And fear is coming from the mode of ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance that there is nothing to fear. Ignorance that the Supreme Lord is in charge, is maintaining me, is supporting me, is loving me, is in control of everything, and is giving me some control. So I'm supposed to use some control. We are all Ishwaras. We are not Parameshwar, but we are Ishwar. We have some control. And so the Lord gave us some control. Why? What is that control? That control is supposed to be used in service to the Lord. So in service to the Lord, there is fearlessness. And from that place, then when we are in a situation like Vidura, so Vidura could have been passive, and passive would have been like, well, the king is following his son, and I'm just going to not say anything because I'm scared of his anger. I'm scared that Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, they are going to hurt me. So I'm not going to say anything to them. So that will be passivity, born of my fear. But Vidura, he wasn't fearful. He wasn't passive. Nor was he attached to the result, nor was he attached that they will listen to him. He was truthful, like, okay, I see something's wrong here. I'm going to speak my truth, speak the truth as I see it, speak the truth, and also because he was really, in his action toward Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, he was coming from a place of care, protection, and he was coming from a place of compassion towards them. He wasn't coming from a place of aggressivity, or I'm going to tell you things as they are because, whatever. It was coming from a place of compassion. And later on, that's why the sage asked, because when he came back in the first canto, there's a description that he came back to the palace to speak with his brother Dhritarashtra. And the first thing he said to Dhritarashtra, one of the first things is like, you are like a dog, eating eating and receiving a food from your enemies. And so he's really sharp in his words when he comes back to Dhritarashtra. Still, whatever sharpness is coming from love and compassion towards Dhritarashtra. So in that, we can see Vidura is not a passive, fearful, in ignorance of the big picture of life. He is assertive. He comes and he said, here's the truth. You're going to lose that war. You shouldn't listen to your son. Your son is a bad son. He's not going to deliver you from birth and death. Listen, this is really not your interest to go after the Pandava and to fight that war. So he spoke. And then when the word of Duryodhana came, then for him, it wasn't about my own being hurt or feeling pain. A devotee doesn't speak his truth born of defensiveness. I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to protect myself. The devotee speaks his truth out of service to Krishna. What's my service? Like we give the example often of Christ. Christ is so no, they are not. It's a house of my father. This is a house of my father, and you're making it a marketplace. You're making it a place of sense gratification, economic development, a place of name and fame. No, I don't want that. And he broke everything. So, and he wasn't coming from a place of aggressiveness. He was manifesting anger for sure, out of compassion, because he could see they were all going to hell. By acting the way they were acting, they were entangling themselves more in a material consciousness. And maybe they are, many of them, they're born in the middle of Kali Yuga now, where everything is suffering. There is only suffering now. It's just all around. So atrocious suffering. So he was coming from a place of compassion. Srila Prabhupada, he could roar to protect the Siddhanta of the philosophy that was given by the disciplic succession. It could be so heavy and so cutting, and it never came from self-interest. So passivity is coming from self-interest. And assertiveness in the name of Krishna, which is only assertiveness that really have any validity, it comes from protection of the spirit soul and protection of the teaching of the Acharya, protection of the relationship that those spirit soul have. So much suffering. The devotee sees the soul in everyone. He sees spirit soul, spirit soul, spirit soul, spirit soul, spirit soul. But he sees also the soul suffering in that conditioning and how far away the consciousness is from their original consciousness. So a devotee is taking a stand for that. And sometimes taking a stand for that means there's nothing more I can do. I'm done here. For Vidura, he could see clearly, I have no more service to render here. They're not going to listen to me. They are going to do whatever they want to do. It's time for me to go on and do my service and let Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana be in the hand of destiny, in the hand of Krishna, seeing the bigger picture that who I am, to know that there is not supposed to be a war, because the war was supposed to be fought. Arjuna saw it on the battlefield. He saw Krishna. He saw everybody being killed. So that war was to be fought. So Vidura, he wasn't attached. He said the truth. He saw that, okay, that's not going that direction. My service is over. I'm going to serve somewhere else. I'm going to take Krishna consciousness somewhere else and purified myself because I was in association with those people for too long and taking food from them. So I need to purify myself. That's his humility, really. That's really the humility of Vidura. I didn't need to do that, but that's why he went on pilgrimage, because he felt he was contaminated by years in intrigue and politics and all those things. But in reality, he was always pure. But a devotee is humble, like Haridas Thakur, pure devotee, Lord Chaitanya, follower of Lord Chaitanya, always chanting the holy name. Then he didn't really want to enter even the Jagannath temple. He was feeling so fallen. I'm a Muslim. I shouldn't enter. I shouldn't disturb people. I shouldn't even come close to the Brahmana. It's out of their humility. So similarly, Vidura, he went on pilgrimage out of his humility. And he could see, like, okay, what do I know? I have done my part. I have served the way I was supposed to serve. I told the truth as I could see it. Now I'm insulted, and it's a great opportunity. Thank you, Duryodhan. And I move on. And yeah, the devotees do what they are supposed to do. They tell the truth without attachment because they don't know. We don't know the plan of the Lord. We don't know. Krishna wanted that battlefield, in fact. He wanted, in fact, when he went back to the coup, he enticed them. He wanted the war to happen. So he did everything for the war to happen. Oh, we don't say that so much, but that's true. Krishna wanted that. So that's that. Does that respond to your question? You have more, is it?
If nobody else has more, then I'll come up with more because the gas dilemma is slowing us down, so Prashad is not ready.
I could come up
So
with
there's
something.
some more questions.
Yeah, this distinction that you're making between humility and humiliation,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically the part where you were saying, I am greedy, I am envious. Like, I guess regarding these human faults that we have,
Mm-hmm.
can you share more about that, like the joy of being like, have all of these flaws, and how that how having a relationship with ourselves in this honest way that isn't shameful,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, just I guess I just want to hear more about
Okay.
that. You were saying like there's this joy and also that it supports our devotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate your question, and I'm going to go in a little bit inside the talk jargon, but forgive me about that. And thank you, Stephanie. So the tendency is to, when we see those flows, like I'm envious or greedy or I have material desire, or I want something else than pure devotional service. I want something else than Krishna's happiness or joy. So when we see those things, we go into humiliation and shame and feeling bad, like feeling bad about myself, kind of it's a free ticket to feel bad and to avoid. And really, the refusal or the resistance to our conditioning is going to create more conditioning. I am a conditioned soul. I am fallen. I am here. I didn't take birth in Satya Yuga. None of us did. And so just that, that's what's really amazing to me, is that any pride could develop in our heart, that we are something special or someone special. And if we don't ever think that I am someone special, or if we don't ever think I should be someone special, then we will not experience the guilt, the shame, and the humiliation. The guilt, shame, and humiliation come from the desire to be God in some way or another, in a certain way. But the guilt, shame, humiliation come from that deeply seated desire to be God. Because if I don't think I should be someone special, then I'm just like, yeah, I'm a spirit soul having a human experience. And this human experience is in Kali Yuga in 2022 when people have their phone and, like look around. There's nothing really exceptional about what's around us. No culture, no like austerity, no compassion is gone. Like all the religious principles that were kind of taken for granted in other regions, they're not even like slightly here. So like if we just come to a place of really seeing our situation and not impose on ourselves in any way that I should be a little God or even godly or special or adored or recognized or admired or anything like that. You get it. That if we don't have any of those, and we just like, yeah, I'm here and I'm really insignificant and I'm struggling with my senses. I'm struggling with my mind. Like, who can chant one round of japa, fully hearing name Krsna, Hare, Rama? One round of japa is 7 minutes. Not even capable of doing that. What is there to be like feeling like we are special? Just like, what is there to feel like we are anything special? That's crazy. That's crazy, madness. So yeah, so that's where the joy is. Yeah, I'm a spirit soul having human experience, and that human experience, my field of activity, so much of the Bhagavad Gita, there is 2 tracks. And 1 track is really to know where I am at. Because even in geography, if I really want to understand how to go to my destination, it's great to have the destination. I need a destination. So all the books, they describe the highest destination. Nothing is missing here. All Srila Prabhupada gave us the highest destination we come to. Srila Rupa Goswami gave us the highest destination we can go to. So high. And yes, we want to be familiar with it. We want to understand it. We want to absorb ourselves without thinking that's where we are, because we are so far away. Because if we don't know where we are not going to achieve our destination. Let's take the example of Paris. Yeah, let's say the destination is Paris, and I read the book and all that, and I think I'm in Moscow. Because I read the book and because I want to be God and I want to be special, I think I'm in Moscow. But in reality, I'm in New York. So if I think I'm in Moscow, what I will do, I will travel west to go to Paris, west, many west to go to Paris. Yeah, that's why I'm traveling, because I know where I am at. I'm this person and I know the goal, and from where I am at, that's where I go. But if I go west, and where I'm really at is New York, it will take a really long time to arrive in Paris. I will travel west, and I will get lost through all those states, and I will arrive in California, and then I have the big Pacific Ocean, and Japan, and China, and then maybe come to Siberia, and then I will arrive in Moscow, where I was thinking I was, and then yes, maybe I will go to Paris, but it will take such a long time, and it was such a difficult, journey. Yeah, so the acharyas, they give us, and Srila Prabhupada so much, pin it down. You're not this body, and we have envy and greed And that's there. I can see it every day, anger, greed, envy, every single day, illusion, lack of attention. That's just reality. And they tell us, they're so compassionate. Tell us, look, you're in New York. Understand that you're in New York, and then you will find a boat to go to Europe. And then when you're in Europe, you can walk to Moscow. It will take some time, of course, but the more you're truthful, Krishna will clean your heart from all your material desire. And by that, by being truthful, we are going to develop the urge to hear and chant the glorification of the Lord. And when we have that urge to constantly hear and chant, then little by little, that wheel of conditioning, samsara, is going to slow down and almost come to a stop. And from that place, the nut in the heart, the strange nut of false ego, I can feel it. It's so physical. You know, when you're so attached to some things, it's so in the gut. It's a false ego. They're described, it's a nut. It feels like a nut. And then I'm tightening up the nut because I think I'm right. Or I think I should be something, and I'm tightening up the nut. And the more I tighten the nut, the more I'm tense and anxious and all that, like that. So, yeah, and then, you know, when that's clean, we have the urge, and then we absorb ourselves. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, staying with Srimad Bhagavatam, even like 30 minutes. I put my timer sometime. I'm not going to do anything. 30 minutes or 1 hour, like just Srimad Bhagavatam and I. It's transformational. That's the best transformational experience I know. I don't know a more transformational experience. And when we absorb ourselves in the Bhagavatam, there is no space to feel that we are anything special. We're just with those amazing devotees, Vidura, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami, Sutta Goswami, the sage Mahimesharanya, Sonaka Rishi, Narada Muni, Maitreya Rishi. Soon we will come, we are going to hear from Uddhava. And Uddhava was right there when the Lord left the planet. How amazing all that. And then from that place, it's cleans all that false identification, that illusion. It's just cleans and we come, yeah, I'm a spirit soul having a conditioning of Kali Yoga. 2020, I'm a woman here. I have no clue what's a woman. I have no clue what it is to be a woman. I have been conditioned in a certain way by this Western society, and I'm brainwashed. Please help me clean my head. Please help me clean all my brainwashing, because I'm suffering. I feel I can do it by myself. I'm independent, I'm making money and all that. And then every day, oh my God, it's so much to take care of my life. Because it's not natural for a woman to be in that situation all alone, like needing to take care of everything. It's not. But I don't know what's a woman. I think I know, because I'm brainwashed.
Thank you.
And then if I accept that every morning, I'm brainwashed, and then yes, a new contract. I am envious, greedy, illusion, man, angry, and brainwashed. Woo!
It's true, that's the real protection.
Yeah, that's it.
Acknowledging the reality.
Truthful devotee. That's it. And then everything gone.
I was thinking the same. Oh, right. No.
We are you're welcome to stay. And what's happening here, I want to express, is that Bhakta Eze was in charge of cooking breakfast, and there was a problem with gas, and so the breakfast was supposed to be cooking, but we were in illusion. Deep illusion, because there was no fuel, and so nothing was cooking because there was no gas. So now the gas came back, and we want to continue the class, but we can end the class and also have a conversation. And however, you're welcome to stay with us. What time is it? Yeah, we have 3 more minutes before 9:30. So.
I was just gonna say that I was sitting on my porch maybe this week, just thinking the exact same thing. Just I wasn't associated with the Kali Yuga, but just what a strange time we're in. That females in general are wondering like what it is to be a female. And it's like they've been
So
around
strange.
forever.
Yeah. Having a spirit soul in the human body is there forever. And Kali Yuga is such a strange time. And it's just the beginning of Kali Yuga. It's supposed to go for 432. I know. It's just a start. Can you imagine what will happen to society? And it's already happening. Now there is not 2 genders, there's so many. And it's already happening. And what will be in 100 years, like kids getting pressure that, of course you're not a boy, you're a girl. What? Like it's not even within the gender, it's like cross-gender now. It's just like Kali Yuga is advancing, and we need to see that. We need to see that as, wow, it's just symptom of Kali Yuga. It's a symptom of illusion. It's a symptom of greed. It's a symptom of madness. So much madness in this world. Anger. Everything is led by anger. And then, okay, I'm going to take shelter. I'm going to take Bhagavatam. Like call to the Bhagavatam, please help. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Rapimanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees.